Mix in, mix in, mix in. Okay. All right, guys. So, where's my marker now? Oh, over there. All right, guys. As usual, I am going to do a little talk before I get my workout in, or sometimes I get my workout in and I do a talk. But nonetheless, today I want to talk about. I'm sure a lot of people will like this one, especially if you're looking to break a plateau. So right now, the reason why I want to bring it up because I have my program that I'm doing. Okay, so everything is kind of structured, and I love periodization to get results, because then you're actually fine-tuning it to a specific result, and we'll get into different targets that you can target in terms of periodization, whether it's strength, endurance, speed, or whatever. So depending on what you want as an outcome, you're going to want to train in that manner, and everything becomes specific, even what you're eating. Comes down to specifics and how you structure your program. There's another video that talks about rep schemes. So obviously just the rep schemes will vary up your program on the results that you're getting, whether it's strength or endurance or power. But it goes into a lot of depths. And I actually really enjoy the concept of periodization. When it was created is because they wanted their athletes to maximize the time between their recovery and gains, and there is a correlation between the number of workouts you do and the intensity of your workouts and the duration and your recovery in order to get your maximum results. So that's why they created it, because in an environment where there's winning and losing and where there's competitiveness, every hairline inch that they could get above their opponent was a huge deal. So that's when they started creating this thing called periodization. So anyways, I love periodization. This is why the mainstream advice, the layman advice would be like just lift and eat clean. Kind of flies over my head, because the thing is that it gets into a lot more depth, and when you look into periodization, you realize that there is more depth to actually just lifting. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about the eating today. I do have nutritional videos that I will be posting. I posted one about fad diets. You can check that one out too. But when you look at periodization, it's not just about lifting. Okay, so especially if you want to get specifics. Okay, so where I'm at in my program right now, I'm only going to give this part. I'm going to be talking about the unloading aspect. Okay, so that's what they would call it in bodybuilding, but in periodization they call it the transitioning phase. Okay, so there's a reason why, again, periodization is so important. Okay, we have to consider the fact that there wouldn't be so many people hitting plateaus, struggling with the famous last 10 pounds, or putting on that last bit of weight for the guys. There wouldn't be these issues if it wasn't specific. So we got to keep that in mind, okay? So one of the things in a periodization program that we have to keep in mind is that you're going to reach a peak. And once you reach a peak, that's game day, okay? That's the game day. So whatever you're training for, you're going to be developing for game day. So for the average person, it might be a wedding, summer, beach, whatever, right? So you want to max out and hit your peak. After the peak, there's a phase that's a transition, which is transitioning you over to the next phase of your workout. So right now, that's where I am right now. I had a hard last month. I actually did that 60-kilometer run as a challenge, but it was my hard month anyway, so it was a perfect place to put it. And yeah, so anyways, I've designed it so that it actually peaked out this month. By the end of this month, I'll be done. And next month, I'll be unloading. So what is that? Unloading is a way to actually break a plateau even. Okay, so once you've peaked out, you're gonna go and recover. And once you've fully recovered, your body is better able to readapt to new stimulus. Okay, so it's almost like you built this tolerance to growing, okay, to making gains. So by unloading, it actually sets your body up to be almost like a baseline, base zero. Even though your athletic capabilities and stuff like that will still be up here, but with all that recovery and not really doing any activity, you're able to go back and train again and bump up the gains. And I've seen this a lot, where a lot of athletes will stop training for a while and they'll go back and they'll actually surpass where they last left off with a lot more greater ease and a lot quicker than where they left off, right? So, and this transitioning and unloading phase is not meant to be like months and months and months. Okay, so it's supposed to be short. Well, it's supposed to be, I can't say short or long. It depends on how you set up your program. So really, you can either take 2 weeks and do nothing. So my transitioning phase, I actually drastically reduced the workload, probably about half, right? So I'm still working out. The reason I do that is because I want to maintain, right? So sometimes if you're doing a transitioning phase, you can, it does work that way. It depends on how hard your last month, your peak was. Then you can literally take like two weeks off. For some people it could be a month off, right? So depending again on how your program is set up. Okay, so but for me, I like to actually just lower the volume and intensity, and that way I can detrain, deload, transition, and when I go into my next phase, it starts going up again. Okay. So let me cover quickly on periodization and how it works, okay? So, and where a lot of the faults are. So when you're actually doing a program, a lot of people, because they're training consistently every day, eventually they reach a plateau and they hit this plateau and they can't make any more gains, whether it's fat loss or weight and size. So what they do is they're usually doing a consistent basis of training, and some people want to increase their intensity of their workouts, so they end up working out every single day, reducing their recovery and so on and so on. And that's okay as long as you have a transition phase, right? So as I was taught, there's no such thing as overtraining, there's only under recovery. See, so that covers, in a nutshell, the basis of actual periodization. So you could have increased your volume and intensity, but you have to realize then you got to increase your recovery to make it even out. So I'm going to explain why. Yeah, okay, so you do your training. So you do your training, okay, and your body breaks down, okay? It doesn't build when you're working out, okay? It actually breaks down, okay? So and then when you recover, there's this thing. Let's say this is a baseline of where you are right now, okay? So you cover, you work out, and then you work out, and this is your baseline of where you are right now, and you actually break down and you recover and it goes up, okay? But if you're not recovering enough, this is actually what happens. Okay, so you can actually train yourself backwards if you're not supplying the proper, because you got to remember your body goes into a breakdown. Okay, so when you work out, the level of cortisol in your body increases. Okay, so in order to build, your body has to switch that cortisol and start rebuilding muscle. Okay, so a lot of times when people are increasing their intensity, oh, I'm not gonna ever take a day off. I'm just gonna keep training. My rests are less and less, and you're actually going like this. So if you look at, so let's just take the bottom here as the average. So if you look at the average here, right? So yeah. So anyways, let's draw that. So there, you're actually in a gradual decline. Okay, so that's not actually where you want to be. So even if you use this one here, so you're still in a gradual decline, right? So that's the real problem, and you're not going to really make your goals by increasing the intensity. So it's actually quite the opposite. Is you can make more gains reducing the intensity. As crazy as that sounds, right? So, but that's the thing about, there's so many misconceptions about nutrition and how to eat, that are hindering people just because of incorrect information, right? And it's not really incorrect, it's just incorrect for the situation. Okay, so for the results that most people want, they're using the wrong information, right? So I think that's a better way to put it, right? So the results that you want, really what you're eating and how you're training is the results that you're getting. So if you're not getting the results you want, it's actually a result of the eating and training that you're doing, right? Okay, so when we look at the proper periodization, it should be in a step formation. Okay, so there's a couple ways. The way I do it, I'll show you guys the way I do it, but the way it should be is like this. Okay, so even, and then you would take a dip, right, and then repeat. Okay, so when you're training like this is your baseline. Okay, you're going to train, there's a supercompensation, and the way the step should work, it should be like this. Okay, so instead of going down, it should be progressively going upwards, so that way you can make your gains. Okay, so that's exactly how this program should be designed. Okay, and this is where the supercompensation happens. The supercompensation is the recovery point. So you're training, this here is a supercompensation. You want this to happen. So by going like this in a step fashion, right, and then you get your recovery here, causes supercompensation and readies you for more development. Okay, so the way I like to do my programs is actually like this. So for instance, let's say this is 1, and I actually do use a number system when I program my workouts out. So this is 2. So let's say difficulty is yeah, so 2, like this. So these are separate months here. Okay, and then I would actually just do a repeat here as an example, right? So this is why I'm saying on my transition phase that I'm on right now, I actually don't completely eliminate my workouts. Okay, so I'll go up like that, and then I actually might even take a dip here as an example. I mean, I would really have to sit down and plan it out, right? So, but anyways, so instead of just going straight up and then one drop, I actually have it where I would leave some spaces. Some months would be the same, just for to lengthen that adaptation phase, right, to the current weights I'm doing or whatever, right, and then double here and then a drop, something like that. Okay, so I mean that's not what it is, but that's what I do. Okay, so it would actually be more, instead of just a straight ladder up, down, ladder up, it would more be like a wave. So it'd be up, across, down. So it would be things, it would be drops and dips in between or whatever, right? So I'm allowing for more adaptation to the weights I'm doing, which also allows for greater recovery during the times that I am recovering, which helps induce that supercompensation and increases the gains that I want. Okay, so when we think about it in terms of increasing intensity, when you actually look at a periodization, unless you're increasing intensity and volume correctly, you're going to hit a plateau. In fact, you might not be making any gains or less gains at all, right? Sometimes people will go back to the gym and they're like, oh, I'm lifting less weights. You're actually not allowing for supercompensation so that you can lift more weights. So sometimes the antidote to actually making gains is actually to start doing less, at least for the short period of time, right? Because you're not allowing for that supercompensation to happen. Okay, so yeah, if you want to break plateau, sometimes recovery might be the answer. All right, so that's a little bit about periodization. All right, see you later, guys. All right, guys, if you guys like that video, I just am uploading that right now. I have a whole bunch of videos that are going to be backed up, but I'm only going to put them out once a day. So if you guys want to see some more updates on fitness, just hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, And yeah, hit the little bell button there, so that way you'll get notifications on when my next video comes out. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll be bringing some more good information for you guys who are trying to build the best program for the results that you guys want. All right, see you later, guys.